Thank you for joining me for this exciting adventure of Raiders of the Lost Kaolinite Mine. I'm your host, I'm Glenn Worthington, and we're here on top of Twin Knobs. Twin Knobs 2, we're on the northern knob because there's an acre of kaolinite here. And I had to hack my way up here through the greenbriers with thorns and the blackberries with thorns, and I'm not all cut up, and it's a good thing because I'd be in trouble at home if I came home all scratched and bloody. But I wanted to come up here. This is not a weapon, this is a tool to get me here. So I'm going to put that down in case you don't like looking at it. But I'm not going to get out of the way even though you don't like looking at me. But I'll show you this kaolinite in a minute, and let me tell you what it is, what we're looking at, and why we came here. Kaolinite is also known as kaolin clay, and also called China clay. And first off, before we talk about kaolin clay, what is clay? Clay is just a decomposed rock. And as a gardener, you may know clay doesn't make very good soil for a garden. What you need is decomposed vegetation, humus, for your garden. That's the best stuff, the black soil. But decomposed rock, clay, is not very good. Well, kaolin clay, or kaolinite, is decomposed igneous rock. What is igneous rock? Well, it's volcanic rock. It's lava. And we are, I would say 1 mile from the Crater of Diamonds State Park. It's right through the woods there. And there was a lot of volcanic activity in this area. If you follow from the Crater of Diamonds a northeast trend, there are a total of 7 diamondiferous lamprite pipes outside of the Crater of Diamonds State Park. We are at Twin Knobs 2, and it's right on the northwestern slope of this northern knob of Twin Knobs. So I came up here because this is kind of a neat place. Kaolin is neat stuff. Let's talk about what it's used for. Last year, well, there's kaolin all over the world. Many countries have it, so it's not all that rare. The majority of the kaolin in the United States is found in Georgia, near Macon, Georgia. But last year, 55 million tons of kaolinite was mined. And so well, what's the commercial value? Why would you mine clay? What is it good for? Well, 50% of the kaolin was used in paper production. And you know how you get glossy paper, like magazines and all? Well, that gloss comes from the kaolin. That's what it contributes to the paper. Paper comes from trees, wood, cellulose pulp, and then they mix the kaolin with it to get glossy paper rather than your Big Chief tablet. A lot of you won't even know what that is. But I used to have chunks of wood floating in the tablets we used when I was a kid. That's back in the day, the 1800s, whatever. So talking about kaolin today, we have an acre of it here. And I worked for 3 years in diamond exploration outside the state park. Like I said, we have 7 diamond pipes. The first one coming from the Crater of Diamonds, going northeast, you come to Twin Knobs 1, or the Riley Farm. Twin Knobs 2, which is where we are. You've got the Black Lick, you've got the American North, and then the Kimberlite and the Timberlands. So that's the 7. And I'll take you there. If you'll stick with me and watch these videos, I'm going to take you to every one of them. This was quite a hike. I drove part of the way, and then I didn't want to scratch my truck all up, so I parked, and I walked the rest of the way, and most of the hike, no joke, is a 45-degree angle. This old fat man was huffing and puffing. I had to sit here and rest a while before I turned the camera on, just so I could have a breath to talk. But don't come up here. This is private property. A friend of mine owns this. But back in the day when he and I both worked for Texas Star, Star Resources, Diamond Exploration Inc., it was all the same company under one umbrella. We did diamond exploration here, and we laid out a grid for a ground magnetic survey, and that grid came over the Twin Knobs. It went all the way from the gate at the American mine all the way across Black Lick, and it included Twin Knobs too. So by ground magnetics, they were looking for buried lamperite bodies. Well, the geologist we were working with was fascinated with this kaolin. And we were doing a drill core program. When we had a high magnetic reading, they would drill it to see how much lamperite was there. You know, is it 200 feet deep? Is it 300 feet deep? Whatever. One place on Twin Knobs 1, the core drilling was drilled the deepest ever in any lamperite in Arkansas. It went 1,000 feet deep. And I think they were very near the center of the funnel of the diamond pipe. See, it comes up a narrow pipe, and as it gets close to the surface and has less overburden pressure, they kind of blow out like this, a funnel shape. Well, a lot of times the geologists don't know where the center of that funnel is, so they'll, by ground magnetic survey, pick, okay, well, let's drill here. Well, they might get at the side of the cone, and so they only go 200 feet deep in it, or they might go 353 feet deep in it here. But at one spot at Twin Knobs 1, they drilled 1,000 feet in lamperite and didn't hit the bottom. They didn't go out of it. They just stopped drilling. They said, we got to stop drilling somewhere, so we think this is the center of the funnel. This is right where the pipe is. I'll take you there in a future episode and show you that spot. I know exactly where it is. It's marked. I've got it marked. So back to kaolin. It is usually a whitish clay, and this is a piece of kaolin, and it, as we said, is a decomposed, naturally chemically weathered igneous rock. So this is clay, and one way you can tell whether you have kaolin clay or not is stick it to your tongue, and it absorbs water so much it'll stick to your tongue. Let's try it. No hands. Not too bad, but got it off of there, and I still have a tongue that's not bleeding so I can talk. So the geologists were fascinated with the kaolin clay deposit. And while they were doing core drilling in the area, they said, take the core drill up and set it up and drill and see how deep that goes. Well, it was 30 feet deep. So that's a pretty good deposit when you're talking about an acre in size. Now, how big is an acre? Approximately the size of a football field. So a football field is pretty good. You can see quite a bit of the white kaolin exposed here. We do have grass, vegetation growing on some of it, and some trees even growing up in it. Pine trees can grow in anything. They grow in solid rock up by Narrows Dam at Lake Greason. If you ever head up that way to check the Cinnabar mine trails, I have about 3 videos about that. You ought to check that out if you're in the area, southwest Arkansas, near the Crater of Diamonds. Just north of the Crater of Diamonds, 14 miles, you can hike on the Cinnabar Mine Trail. It's free, open to the public. You can surface search through the tailings of the old mines that were there in the 1930s and 40s and see if you find any cinnabar. If you don't know what cinnabar is, watch the video. And now we're talking about kaolin clay. So 50% of that 55 million tons of kaolinite that was mined last year was used in the production of paper, for glossy paper. What is the other 50% used for? Some of it is used to make pottery. I said it was also called China clay. The kind of pottery it makes is porcelain. Kaolin clay makes porcelain. Also, there's a good deposit, besides in Arkansas, besides this deposit here, up near Benton and Bauxite, which are practically a suburb of Little Rock on the southeastern edge of Little Rock, or southern Little Rock. Benton, bauxite, Bryan, all in that area. Bauxite, see, I get sidetracked to tell you all kinds of stuff. Bauxite is named bauxite because of the mineral bauxite that is mined there, and bauxite is an aluminum ore. And Alcoa and Reynolds, you might know them from the famous Reynolds Wrap aluminum foil and Alcoa aluminum. They have mines there. They mine the bauxite and get aluminum from it. Well, bauxite is igneous, so the decayed igneous rock becomes what? Kaolinite. So there's kaolin clay up by Benton, Bryant, and bauxite. In fact, they used to mine it up there, and a potter used it. There was a company called Nioluk, and that's, if I can spell it in my head, Niloak. It's kaolin spelled backwards, Nioluk. Go to Google Images and put in Nioluk pottery, and it's beautiful colored swirled pottery that people collected, and now it's not manufactured anymore. In fact, the people who used to make it decades ago are all gone, and they didn't pass along the secret of how they made Nioluk pottery. But we do know they made it from kaolin clay, because there was a great deposit of kaolin clay up around Bryant and bauxite Benton area. I heard, and I can't confirm this, but I heard that one of the largest deposits of kaolin was right up there along I-30, and they built a Walmart on top of it and covered it with a parking lot. So anyway, huge deposit of kaolin. Instead of mining it, they built a Walmart there. So happy shopping, everyone. Well, this isn't being mined either, and maybe it's not worth the digging and the hauling and washing, but kaolin's pretty neat. In a minute, I'll take you around and we'll look at it a little closer. But right now, I want to show you some specimens I carried in my backpack up here. I have collected this kaolin near here at a different kaolin site. Now, this is pretty white. Every now and then, you'll see some, dig it out. This is kind of a reddish color, and I think it's just stained with iron. And if you get that iron coating off of there, see, I'll show you a little closer if I didn't drop it. Well, I'll grab another one. But see, this has a reddish kind of an iron coating, but if you look, it's only a thin coating on the outside. And anyway, that's the kaolin from here. It's kind of a cream color, kind of a white. Most of it is real white, and this would make great porcelain. Now, some porcelain china you might be familiar with as a toilet. So they take kaolin clay and make toilets. Another thing it's used for, you know, I showed you how absorbent it is. You remember that, don't you? Well, the absorbency is good in makeup. So they mix kaolin clay in with makeup, and it absorbs the oil on women's skin. Another thing, because of the absorbency, it's good in medicine for diarrhea. Have you ever heard of kaopectate? Well, it has kaolin in kaopectate, and that clay naturally absorbs water, and that helps get you well from your diarrhea problem. Okay, I got to show you what I got in my bowl here that I smuggled up here in the backpack, and my wife doesn't know I made off with the kitchen dinnerware, so I'll try to get it back without breaking it. This is a piece of cream-colored kaolin that I collected near here, not at this site. This is mainly white or white and stained. This is pretty cool. It's a cream color with some orange lines going through it. I don't know. I like the pattern in it. If you need a worry stone, this is really good. See, it's naturally dull, but if you rub it with your thumb, you can get a good polish on it, a good shine. So I don't need a worry stone. Like Mac Faraday says, everything will be all right. So Mac Faraday is a YouTuber, and he's my son, and you might check out his channel as well. So here's some more of that kind of kaolin that I collected at the same spot. A friend of ours that we were working in diamond exploration up here, and we were talking about the kaolin clay, and he hunts up here, and he said, hey, I know where there's some. So he took us to this other spot, and I wish I remember where it was, because that's been 20 years ago now, and I've forgotten how to get there. Just some old back roads up here in the hills. Here's another piece of that kind of kaolin, and I like it. Now we're going to talk about a different kind, and I just really think this is cool. This is a lavender color kaolin, and there wasn't much of it there at this site that he took us to, but this is one I've rubbed and kind of got a shine on it as well. So I got to show you all my pieces of lavender, because I only have 4, but I just think that lavender kaolin is just pretty cool stuff. See, it's a dull, a natural dull. Well, it's clay, you know. How shiny do you expect clay to be? This is my biggest piece of lavender kaolin. So anyway, I brought stuff in my bowl, and I'm going to take you now, just walk around, and we'll kind of take a look at the kaolin deposit here. And like I said, it's an acre, which is about the size of a football field. Now, at one time, there was a road bulldozed up here, but everything's all grown up now, and there just really isn't much access unless you bring your own machete to the party. I also wore a pistol on the way up here with snake shot in it in case I saw a rattler or a copperhead. I didn't have to use it, but, you know, be prepared. Speaking of being prepared, I meant to bring water. I meant to bring water and a compass, but I left them in the truck. That was smart. I hope I can find my way back out of here. I'll tell you, it's not easy to find, even if you know your way around. And I did diamond exploration in this area. Well, see, here's kind of a shelf. The reason this is like this, we had a bulldozer up here, and my friend bulldozed some big chunks of it, and I carried some big chunks home when I was working in diamond exploration, and I kept them inside because this will weather. And anyway, that's big chunks of kaolin, and you can see it kind of sets in sedimentary layers. So although it's igneous rock, it's decayed igneous rock, and as it decays, it lays in here flat, and just like you would expect. So anyway, this is a pretty cool deposit. I just noticed this shelf while we were walking along here. It's probably where the bulldozer blade hit that about 19 years ago. And see, iron coating on it, and there's little cracks in there, and iron leaches down through it. There's a lot of iron in this area. The iron is what cements the conglomerates together, and we have a lot of conglomerate in the area, which is nature's concrete. And I'll show you that on a video. If you saw the one about the American mine, there's some big conglomerates up there. So this is a pretty good piece. I'm glad instead of it all just being flat, you could see what that, you know, dug out shelf kind of looks like. This too, it might be just kind of washed out. You can see what the kaolin looks like down in there. But an acre of kaolinite clay in here. And I know all that is kaolin because we had it bulldozed at one time. These trees and vegetation has grown up here since I was here last. I haven't been here like 19 years, so good thing I figured out how to find it. But just to prove to you that I know what I'm talking about, this is kaolin. It's just covered with forest debris, pine needles and leaves and stuff. And so let's finish our tour here. This is on the northern knob of Twin Knobs, about a mile northeast of Crater Diamond State Park. And from this northern knob, right over this hill, is Twin Knobs 2 lamperite intrusion, and diamonds have been recovered from there. Excuse me. That water I left in the truck I'd like to have, but anyhow, Don't come up here. This is private property, and I just got permission to come up here and film this video so you could see what the kaolinite deposit looks like. And it's quite a hike in the woods. You really wouldn't want to come anyhow. So thank you for joining me, and please subscribe to our channel, Genuine Diamonds in AR for Arkansas, and watch all of our videos. And I appreciate you joining me. We'll try to take you to some more interesting destinations in the near future.